Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to do a box opening for the ESEE 6HM-K. This is a little off-brand for our channel. Normally we talk about fitness stuff, but fitness is really a version of preparedness. And there are 5 key items for all of human history that everybody should have or should know about. The 5 C's of survivability, as I understand them from Dave Canterbury of Self-Reliance Outfitters, are number 1, cutting tools or tools in general, containers, combustion sources, cordage, and cover. Cutting tools are tools in general, axes, knives, anything that allows you to generally cut, incline plane from a classic physics standpoint. Combustion sources, the ability to make fire or generate fire, drives all of human history, from campfires to preparation of food to the internal combustion engine. Cordage, ways to fasten things together, started out with rope and twine, ended up as duct tape, ended up as nails and fasteners that hold the world together. Containers, one of the first things traded between Europeans and Native Americans, ends up being pots, pans, containers that hold things or that allow you to cook and prepare food. Cover could be anything from a lean-to a shelter to a building to clothes to shoes to hats. Those 5 categories are super important, and everybody should be familiar with them and think about them in depth as much as you think about things like personal fitness, because they all relate to the same idea as being prepared to do what you need to do in life and to lead a good life. ESEE makes some of my favorite knives that I think are the absolute best knives currently out there available on the market. This is going to replace my other ESEE. This is an ESEE 6, which used to be called a RAT 6. R-A-T, Randall Adventure Training. The ESEE 6 is probably, in my opinion, one of the best knives on the market for just everything in general. You can use it in a survival context, you can use it in a farming context. It has the correct length of blade and the correct blade shape in order to be the most useful tool for the least amount of money. There are a lot of sexy knives out there that have horrible blade shapes that are really useless for a lot of things. This is what you might think of as a good overall knife. You will notice that I always carry what's called a RAT 1, Randall Adventure Training folder, which is based on this. You will notice that these blade shapes are very similar to each other because this is one of the most useful blade shapes in history in my mind. Every couple of years, I go out on a limb and I allow myself to get a new knife. These knives don't really go bad. I got my first ESEE 6 about 10 years ago. The ESEE 6 I just had in my hand, I got about 5 years ago. And this year I'm splurging on this new ESEE 6 because it has a different handle design, a handle design that I like a lot more. So ESEE 6, all kinds of fun information on the back of the box. Box opens up, and inside we have a couple of things in the box. Randall Adventure Training, still linked to RAT. This card has short-term survival tips and signaling tips on it. You know, your classic merch stickers. And then an information card on how to take your knife out of the sheath, because that's where we are as society. In the bag itself, let's use one knife to open our other knife. RAT 1 full-size folding knife with liner lock. One of the best knives you can possibly get. You will notice that you can move this clip to the other side for left-handed people, and you could invert the knife on both sides so that you can carry it in absolutely any direction. That feature is one of the things that makes this knife the best, and this knife is only $30. That's compared to, say, like a Benchmade, which could be $150 to $300. I would definitely take the RAT 1 over any other knife on the market. This is going to be super cool. The best thing about these ESEE knives and Randall Adventure Training knives is the sheath themselves. The knives themselves are of excellent quality and super badass. But the thing that they brought to market better than anybody else was the sheath system. It locks in place. The knives can be hung upside down. This original ESEE 6 style has all these anchor points. These are Malay points, so you can strap it to anything with Malay, but you can also put this on your back. This one is set up to be carried horizontally behind the back on the belt right now. You can change the orientation in any way you want. This is still one of the finer sheath systems on the market. It locks into place. It's high tempered plastic. It's never gonna go bad. It's never gonna rot, and you can't possibly stab through it if you drop the knife or anything else. And this new sheath system is also fantastic. It's just not quite as cool as the old ones. These old ones don't have the seam here This has been folded over Kydex, which is probably a slightly different manufacturer than these, which seem to be some type of injection molded plastic or something put together. But they serve the same purpose and they have the same general setup. A good sheath system determines how good of a knife you really have. There are many good knives sold on the market that have substandard or crap sheaths. Anything that has just like a plain nylon sheath, avoid entirely unless there is a good sheath on the market for it that can be carried in any way. The good thing about these types of sheaths is that you can add on to them. They can be mounted in any direction. They're ambidextrous. They can mount on bags, they can mount on packs, and you can throw them inside of a pack and absolutely know that the knife will not fall out and that you cannot stab through it on accident by compressing the knife in some way. This new knife, fantastic retention, is awesome. This is a blade shape and a handle shape that I really like. It is very similar to knives from the late 1700s at the founding of America. And this style of knife and blade shape has been around for hundreds of years because it is super useful. It varies from this classic SE6 in the hand shape. This one has a hand swell in it and a stop point, but you can choke up on this one with this chimping on the back. But this handle is just a little bit bigger and bulkier than this handle is. I really like this style handle and you just don't see it that much. So when ESEE came out with a new one, even though this knife will probably last 100 years, I decided to go ahead and get the new one. Blade lengths, cutting edges are basically exactly the same. And overall, the fit and finish of this new knife is just as good as the previous knives. They have this hardcore coating on them that keep them from rusting because they are high carbon steel. Only the edge will rust, but this new one will be just as good. Things that you're looking for in a good knife: a good sweep to the blade, a long enough blade that you can actually do general tasks with it. Usually 4 to 6 inches is the ideal range for a kind of a do everything knife. In the world of bushcraft, that is called something like a one tool option, one tool that can do almost everything pretty well. If you want to do anything fully, then you would need a specialized tool. But people talk about a good one tool option as being one of the key things that you would look for in a knife design. This one could be used for food preparation, it could be used for carving, it can be used for general maintenance, and it's big enough and strong enough you can use it to baton wood and all kinds of other things. If the world were to end, both of these would be a good knife to have overall. Both of these are made in the USA, which I very much like. They have a hard 90-degree spine, which would allow you to use something like a ferro rod. They're easy to sharpen. The sheath system is good. So overall, either of these is a fantastic option, and absolutely everybody should have a good knife option. Also in the box is this piece here with provided screws attachments. This is an offset belt hanger mount. I don't think I'm going to like this one as much as I like the original, but these two pieces would line up together and bolt together, and this would allow this to hang off of your belt like a normal belt knife, but probably with the safest and best possible sheath option I have seen from any company. Nobody else makes sheaths as good as ESEE or Randall Adventure Training. Everybody else is trying to catch up with them, but most people just aren't really using them the same way that these guys are using them. Randall Adventure Training originally designed these knives to be used as a one-tool option in survival scenarios. Absolutely fantastic knife. Very happy to see this new handle design in this classic handle shape. This is going to be a fantastic knife overall, and I expect that, like my other Randall Adventure Training ESEE knives, it will last basically forever, probably longer than civilization or longer than humanity.